Consumers could be greeted with more expensive power rates in 2023 after San Miguel Corporation officially terminated its power supply agreement with Meralco.
To address this, Meralco said it is negotiating with other generation companies to secure 670 megawatts of supply. Gerard de la Peña with the big story.
Yoli has been saving electricity to prevent her electric bills from skyrocketing. During lunchtime, lights and TV are turned off and only 2 electric fans are left on at her small eatery in Quezon City.
Yung rep, wag bukas sarado, ganun. Opo. Tapos yung mga ibang ilaw, pag tanghali naman maliwanag, i-off lang muna.
Consumers like Yoli may have to cut back on power consumption some more come next year. Meralco admits that the power rate hike is possible by 2023. On Wednesday, South Premier Power Corporation, the power subsidiary of San Miguel Corporation, terminated its power supply agreement with Meralco. This means SMC Global Power is formally stopping the supply of 670 megawatts to Meralco. 670 megawatts is equivalent to 12% of Meralco's total supply. The termination of the agreement comes on the back of the Energy Regulatory Commission junking the plea of SPCC and Meralco to temporarily hike rates. The power firms called for a rate hike in a bid to recover from the surge in prices of coal and natural gas needed to fuel their coal plant in Pangasinan and natural gas-fired plant in Ilijan, Batangas. Meralco says it's now in talks with other power generation companies to fill the supply gap. The company admits, however, that power offered by other generation companies could be much more expensive.
They have different rate structures, so we need to evaluate them together to be able to see what's the best mix that will lead to the lowest cost.
Still, Meralco is hoping for stable supply and relatively lower demand to pull down prices. The Power for People Coalition said Meralco customers can expect an increase of at least 3 pesos per kilowatt hour in January, with the power supply deal still being ironed out.
Na alam natin sa konsepto pa lang ng emergency, syempre yung papasok dyan dahil kumbaga parang ora di peligro yan eh, di ba? Pag emergency, pag pumunta ka ng ER, mas mura ba ang bayad mo? Di ba? Simple lang. Mahal talaga mag-ER.
President Bongbong Marcos said that he is aware of the problems concerning power prices. With this, he is calling on the creation of more power plants.
It is a long-term program in terms of supplying, producing more energy, especially in the midst of our commitments to the international community to move the mix from traditional fossil fuels to renewables.
For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, we are One News.
And here to tell us more about the termination of the power supply agreement between San Miguel Corporation and Meralco, we have with us Energy Regulatory Commission Chairperson Monalisa Dimalanta. Ma'am, magandang gabi and welcome to The Big Story.
Magandang gabi po. Good evening to you, Ed and Sean, and to everyone joining us this evening.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight, ma'am. Ma'am, just to be clear, is this a termination or a suspension? Kasi, di ba, the CA just gave a TRO of 60 days, which in effect is a suspension. But this sounds more permanent.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, we were also confused as to what the action taken was by SPPC. But we received, after office hours today, before 6 p.m., we received the official notice from Meralco on this matter. And it appears from their notice that what SPPC had communicated to them was a suspension, not a termination of the power supply agreement.
Okay, and I suppose it's only for two months, as is under the TRO.
That's correct. While the TRO is in place, that's the period of suspension that they have indicated.
Right, and in those 60 days, Ma'am Monalisa, will they be continuing negotiations? What I mean is between Meralco and SPPC, and Meralco between other possible power suppliers?
Based on the letter of Meralco, it appears that they will pursue negotiations with other power suppliers. That's the message that was contained in the notice of Meralco, and this is pursuant to the emergency power supply agreement arrangement for which they have secured clearance from the Department of Energy.
Now, the TRO, ma'am, is for 60 days. Can we expect this issue to resolve within that time frame as well, or a lot sooner, for it to not affect, our power supply here in the Philippines? Because it's, as the report earlier said, it's about 12-13% of Meralco's total supply.
That's correct. About 12 to 13% for this PSA. There are other PSAs, as we know, that have similar arrangements. But for this PSA, it's 12 to 13%. I honestly don't know if the Court of Appeals will be able to resolve this. Of course, we are hoping that they will be able to resolve this sooner rather than later. Maybe not even necessary to consume the entire 60 days. But we have the Office of the Solicitor General representing us, the Energy Regulatory Commission, in the proceedings before the Court of Appeals. And this afternoon also, the OSG for the Energy Regulatory Commission has filed a motion with the Court of Appeals to lift or dissolve the TRO. So we're hoping that the Court of Appeals will also hear our side and act on our motion.
Ma'am, but in the meantime, can you run us through the process that will be involved in the immediate future? Kasi nga, suspension for, I suppose, 2 months, thereabouts, and Meralco will go to WESM to look for, I suppose, the cheapest electricity it can get. But how will that go? I mean, can they contract for only, for example, 2 months? And then what about the pricing?
It's really up to Meralco on how they will get to the end of line. Is really to get to the least cost possible. That's the mandate to the utility. How they get there, they have various avenues to get there. They can manage their mix. As we know, there are other suppliers of Meralco, so they can adjust the supply that's coming from their other power plants. They can also get from WESM, as you had mentioned, Ed, but they can also contract with other suppliers if they can get the best possible price out there that can lead to the end game, which is the least cost to our consumers.
Of course, a lot of the people that are protesting this are running straight to you guys because you are the Energy Regulatory Commission. Up to where are your powers when it comes to problems like this? Has there ever been a precedent? And what remedies are available to you guys as the regulator?
Okay. As the regulator, so we approve, we evaluate, we approve, we deny, meaning the authority to approve also includes the authority to deny applications for rates to be passed on to the consumers. So that's really the day job of the Energy Regulatory Commission. So as to whether there is precedent of this nature, I am not aware, because this is a fixed price contract of a large quantity, I think. I don't think there is a similar large quantity power supply agreement. We're talking about, this one is about 670 megawatts. The other contract that's also in the Court of Appeals is about 300 megawatts. So it's huge in terms of impact because the power supply volume it's huge. So to address your question, I don't think there is a precedent in this of this magnitude.
Ma'am, pahabol na lang. I'm sure you heard the voiceover report a while ago. One group claims to estimate the increase in power rates by as much as 3 pesos per kilowatt hour. I don't know how reasonable that is. I don't know where they got the figures. Pero from your point of view, is that anywhere near market rates, or is that too much? Kasi
in our initial evaluation, hindi naman ho ganun kalaki. Remember, this power supply agreement constitutes about 12 to 13% of Meralco total mix. So if we assume that that's exactly the volume that they will replace with WESM, so for this contract is at a fixed price of 4 pesos 30 centavos. If we go to WESM, the average price last month is about 8.5 pesos. So if we put that together, it's about, and then the total blend of Meralco supply will get to about an increase of 30 to 40 centavos per kilowatt hour. So that's about, for a consumer that's average consuming volume of 200 kilowatts, that's about 80 pesos additional for the total power bill.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time, ERC Chairperson Monalisa Dimalanta.